What is sustainability assurance for you?
Okay, so sustainability assurance is quite a broad process that answers two questions. The first question is common to a process called verification, and it answers the question, are the things in my report right? But for me, assurance goes much further than that. Sustainability assurance, it also says, are the right things in the report? And to answer that question, you need to understand stakeholder expectations. You need to know what's important to stakeholders. You need to have a view as to what are the priority issues, and then you need to decide whether the report is actually answering their questions.
Then why companies should do assurance?
Well, at the moment, trust in large corporations is at an all-time low, and it's not surprising given all the scandals that have happened in the last few years. So basically, people don't trust companies anymore, and increasingly they have real concerns about aspects of social and environmental performance. So sustainability assurance is a way of building trust. So a company writes its report and then they let a third party go through it in some detail and check that it's based on the truth, but also that it's answering all of the right things. And that will be one mechanism which will help to rebuild trust.
You've talked about a third party that would look at that information. What about the fourth party, the stakeholders? What participation should they have in this process?
Well, people in the field that I work in believe that stakeholders should be central to the process, and that's why I'm a strong advocate of a certain standard which is called AA1000 Now, I'm on the council of an organisation called Accountability that produces that standard, and the company that I work for is the leading provider of services using that standard. We're called Two Tomorrows, and if you use the AA1000 standard, then it requires that the company is actively involving stakeholders in its decision-making processes, and in fact that they're providing feedback to those stakeholders that's meaningful to them. And some of the most advanced, the leading edge practice is actually actively involving stakeholders in the assurance process itself.
There is no way back in this process.
Well, I don't know whether it translates well in Spanish, but we use the term Pandora's box, if you know that one, and I think it's certainly true that once you've started, it's not appropriate to go back. But to be more positive, the companies that I work with actually find assurance a really useful thing, so they want to keep going, and that's because they're committed to improvement. That they're not in the space that thinks that they should be in absolute control of all of the information about their company. They know that in the modern age with Twitter and YouTube, etc., that they're no longer in control of what people say about their companies. And so they've moved to the position where they think it's helpful and beneficial to be actively involved in a dialogue, and therefore they think assurance is a good thing, and they don't want to close Pandora's box.
My last question: do you think that a company, Spain is the country where more memories are, more
reports
are with an A+.
Yeah.
Do you think having an A+ means that a company is responsible, that has the assurance of the stakeholder, not the stakeholders, of the community?
Well, I think the mere fact that a large corporation is so committed to its reporting process that it's willing to go so far to achieve a level A, according to the GRI, which means have the fullest set of information available to its stakeholders, and then have it externally assured, which is what the plus should mean, then it's a sign of seriousness. And so clearly Spanish companies want to be actively involved in this debate. As to whether every A+ report, how can I put it, as to whether they're all as good as each other, I think that's another question, but I think it's a good sign.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your time.